Hi, I'm Victoria Regan, and I'm sitting here with a very long-time friend, Patricia Traymore. Now, that's her real name, but we in the dance world know her as Pat Traymore, and she's going to tell us some really, really interesting, wonderful things about her name and herself.
I am Patricia Traymore, and I relate to that as my name because I was born with it. Patricia Traymore became a name that Mr. Murray gave me. I said to him, he said, "Your name is too long, Pat." I said, "Well, let's call it Patricia Traymore." And he said, no, it sounds Arabic. And he was a Jew. So he didn't want an Arabic name. He said, "Let's put an R in it so it sounds different." So Traymore came out of, instead of Taymor, it was Traymore. And I got stuck with it, but that was great. After 9/11, you couldn't travel on any name that you booked your airline on. You had to have proof that you were born with that name. So I had to make Pat Traymore part of my name so that if I am on a business trip, people would still allow me to travel.
Well, it's a fascinating story, and part of that is you knew Arthur Murray. First of all, you were at the beginnings of Arthur Murray Studios.
I was, yes, I was. And my luck that I got close to Mr. Murray was Terry Leone, because Mrs. Murray had a thing for Terry Leone. He was so handsome and such a good dancer. I was not the thing because I was not blonde and I was not buxom. Mr. Murray liked buxom blondes. So
But you were gorgeous, by the way.
I was not, when I look at, you know something, Vicky? When I look at the pictures of what I would look like when I was younger, I even say to myself, "Pat, you were not so bad looking at all. You were quite acceptable." So Mr. Murray used to dance with me 2 times a week because I followed. But it's not because I was blonde or buxom. But he was very nice to me, and she was nice to me. And they always said to me, if you had a Yiddische Kopf, means a Jewish head, instead of a Goische Kopf, which is a Gentile head, you'd be 10 times better off. Because I was no good with money. Money just poured out of my fingers. I saw things, I gave things to people. Money to me is the beginning to and an end. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I met you a long time ago, and you were very generous with your friendships, and you were very generous with gifts. You worked hard for it all. I know you're very bright and very talented, so yes, I saw you were very generous with your money and your time.
You were wonderful. I saw you, and I called you Miss Georgia. You were as beautiful as you are now, and talented, and I was very impressed by you. And I said, that girl will go far, and you have gone far, and I'm so glad for you.
Thank you. I mean, you started me out. You introduced me to Frank, who was my ex-husband.
I know that, and at your wedding, he reminded me. I said to him, "You better say that I introduced you," and he did.
He did.
Yes.
Can we go back to your beginnings before you came to this country? I mean, how did you get into dance? I think that's very interesting.
It's weird.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, then you can cut, and then we can always start over.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, good.
I'm going to turn the...
That was good.
I left the tripod upstairs.
Okay.
Go horseback riding.
This will be better. Then you can press against.
There we go.
So we can, when you get tired, I can cut that particular conversation, and then we start again.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll go with that sentence to say, I don't know if there was enough breath in between. Just say, let's go back to the beginning.
It's still rolling.
Okay. Oh, I see.
That's okay.
Okay, turn it this
you
way.
wanted to know about my beginning. I was born the daughter of a diplomat. And because my dad traveled all the time as a diplomat, we had a British nanny. We had a nanny who looked after us, and when I used to speak English, I didn't speak English like I do now. I used to say dance and grass and either and neither holiday schedule.
Proper English.
Proper English, correct. And she was a spy for England. There was a concession. Iran had a lot of oil, and it was a Darcy concession. And the British wanted Persian oil, and my father stood in the way, and he wouldn't let them have it because he thought he was a great diplomat. So they decided they needed to get rid of him because he was standing in their way. So to make a long story short, they came and they arrested him. They wrote the king. They said, Temurtash wants to do a coup d'etat and throw you over and become king himself. So they took my father and put him in jail, and then they killed him. So then the British nurse was taken back to England, and I got a German nurse who was not a spy. And so that's how we grew up. Then we went to French school there because French was a second language. So we went to French school and we spoke French. And then the Caspian Sea belongs half to Persia and half to Russia. So Mom used to take us there every summer for a month. And that's how I learned Russian.
You speak 7 languages, right?
I speak 5 languages and 6 ones so-so. And as time is going by, I'm losing it because my sister died and my brother-in-law died, so Italian is going out of my vocabulary because I don't have anyone to speak with. But I understand it and I love languages.
So you came to this country, and tell us about your start of dance, how that happened.
I walked on Fifth Avenue and I saw Arthur Murray School of Dance on Fifth Avenue. I had no idea what it is because back home in Iran, you're shy. And you can do sports, but a man and a woman dancing together is not part of their culture. So I walked in front of that studio for 1 week before I had the nerve to take the elevator and go up to the 5th floor. And I said, I would like to learn how to dance. There's Sarwat.
Sarwat's, we're at First Coast Dance Sport Championship, organized by Sarwat Kaloubi, so he will come over here and join us because he's also another good friend of yours.
I love him. You know why? Because he's old-fashioned. He's a gentleman.
True gentleman. And both of you are class acts. I mean, you always look like royalty, both of you do.
But he makes a woman feel like a woman. You know, in this world, I think women are just as intelligent as men are, and men are as intelligent as ladies are. But it's basically a domineering world of men. Men are the bosses. And it's nice to be catered to. It's lovely. It's lovely to have somebody open the door for you, somebody hold your coat for you. I don't want to be that independent where I don't need a man. I would like to feel like a woman. I would like somebody to look after me, and that is a wonderful feeling. And in dance, that's why the man leads and the lady follows.
So Fifth Avenue, go back there for a second. You went upstairs. Who ran the studio at that time on Fifth Avenue?
Victor, he's a Lebanese guy. And his supervisor was Charlie Charles, also Lebanese. And they said to me, what dance would you like to learn? And I said, I don't know anything about dancing. I know that the waltz is called Valse Boston, the Boston Waltz. Mwah.
Okay, you see, this is it. Would you like to sit in with us? Because we're interviewing Pat Traymore, who we've gotten to her career in America, walking on Fifth Avenue, going up to Arthur Murray's, and of course she became a big star in Arthur Murray's and on the Arthur Murray Show with Terry Leone, and of course a lot of history. And now that you're here, we can possibly break that up by sharing your history with Pat.
I think he's wonderful. He's a gentleman's gentleman. That's what I love about him. He is 100% gentleman. I know a lot of people from Egypt, they haven't got his class. He has a class. He's like a beautiful gem.
Oh, you're so kind. Pat, you're so kind. I have to tell you, the first time I met Pat, I was already working at the Great Make Studio for Arthur Maurice, and they had a seminar, and the person that was teaching in the seminar was Pat Traymore, Terry Leon, and Sam Sedano.
Wow.
And it was at the Fifth Avenue Studio. And it was really, it was great experience to learn from best. And it was a hustle time, so they were teaching a huge combination of hustle and also Rumba, and Terry Leon was teaching Rumba. But it was so much fun. That was the first time I met Pat, and we've been friends ever since. And she's been my teacher, everybody's teacher, actually.
I
Pat
just
is.
love him.
Traymore, Sam Sedano,
Yes.
Terry Leon, whom a lot of people, well, Sam, of course, everyone knows, and Pat, but not everyone remembers Terry.
No,
No.
they don't. When he was alive, everybody did, because he was the most charismatic person in the world. He could walk in and the room would light up. I mean, everybody loved him. I used to say to him, I can't compete with you. You should put on a dress and teach me how to be a woman. I mean, he knew how to do everything. And it's amazing how he taught me how to put makeup on. He taught me how to wear fringe, which I was shocked. Me wear fringe? But he made me what I am. And then I had to teach him the other end of things, how to talk publicly, how to give a talk to the teachers that he was in charge of. He was in charge of all the men, and I was in charge of all the ladies teachers at the Fifth Avenue studio. And he was an amazing person. And we did the Tavern on the Green. We did a show for 7 years, every Saturday and every Sunday.
Well, you taught him well. He definitely mastered the skill of communication. I mean, admittedly, you know, I don't know if you remember, I fell in love with him at 21 too. This is, you know, public now. At 21, I fell in love with him.
You should, because you're gorgeous and he was handsome. Perfect.
Nice friendship, yes.
Yeah, really good. So then when he passed away, sort of a lot of doors closed, because he was the person I was used to dance with. I was used to doing things with, even impromptu. One day we were doing the show, and he is down there on the floor doing something, and I just dancing around him. I couldn't figure out what he was doing. Well, what he did is he wore dance tights, but he wore a female's dance tights.
That must have been a little restraining, I would to say.
It was very straining, and that's why he was on the floor, because he couldn't stand up.
I have to tell you, you know that Pat is World Master Hall of Fame inductee, and she is like really just graces our floor all the time when she comes into our competition, and we love her to death. And Pat,
You know, I have
love
nerve. I really love him, and I felt very neglected, because after I was an inductee into his Hall of Fame, I never came back. So I said, I'm going to say something. So I said, Sarwat, are you ever going to invite me to come to your comp again? He said, yeah, next week.
Sometimes we have to invite ourselves. Sometimes we have to invite ourselves, yeah.
No, but I wanted to. I felt so left out, because he's a person that I'm close to. I really like him. And so I'm so glad that it worked.
And I'm so honored to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Are you kidding? I'm the one who's honored.
So I'm going to leave you both to continue.
Okay.
But Pat,
Thank you.
I
love you lots.
You know why? Because you're a gentleman's
You're so
gentleman.
kind.
You're always
kind.
nice. You make a female feel like a female.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much. Enjoy the conversation. I'll see you later.
Yes.
All right.
Your ears will be burning.
So Pat, we can wrap up, but what would you say is your memory of dance and of your life? What would you say is the most memorable, happiest times of your life, if you want to share that?
The happiest time, I love helping people. I love doing things for people. Somehow or other, that's a gift I got from my father. My father, of course, was wealthy, so he could afford to do those things. I always say somebody up there is looking after me, so it'll be okay. But the happiest thing of my life is to help people. When I see that a person all of a sudden from nothing is dancing, and is happy, oh my God, you don't know. It's like somebody giving me a big gift of $1 million. But the thing is this, I like telling the truth, and maybe that's my downfall. Because like I see people when I judge, and they'll say to me, what is it that needs to be changed? Well, they don't wear appropriate clothes, age appropriate or size appropriate. And I think it's very important to present yourself as a elegant person, not what everybody else wears. I think people should, they don't have to overdo it, but they can be a class act, and a class act wins.
I think you're right, and you display that all the time. So it's good advice. So you are a giver, and that's what our business is about. And I want to thank you personally for my start. You gave to me and began my career.
Let me tell you something, Vicky Spratt.
I know, now you know my maiden name. That's right.
You are an amazing person. You're talented, you're wonderful, you're loyal, you're kind, and I admire you and I love you.
Thank you, Pat, and we'll see you here next year.
Better be because I love it. But it's people like you that I see rarely, but when I see you make all the days that were gone go away, and it feels like it was never there, that you were always there.
Thank you.
And I thank you for that because you're great.
Thank you. Pat Traymore Tosh.
Thank you.